Hey everyone, I am Mike of Mike Test Play, and welcome back to Pokemon Colosseum. Last time we did Area 5 of Mount Battle, and this time we're going right into Area 6. Just full tilt. As we arrive in Area 6 and see that we are now more than halfway through Mount Battle, which is nice. For me, it is like a minute after the last episode. Not quite. So we're jumping right in. But yes, the levels are now 40. Mount Battle does progressively get stronger. I think we were like hitting 40 at, the end of Area 5. Let's hit the Voltorb and the Bravo, you're just getting called. This episode, we're going to be using basically the full set of the shadows from the Pokemon, the Shadow Lab. It's not just going to be Raikou and Suicune. In fact, Suicune is in the box, and Raikou is just going to be sitting on the back of the bench, probably for the whole episode. Ramble, you're going to see a lot, because Ramble has the highest attack stat, and I want to get through this as quickly as possible, while still doing what we should be doing and purifying our Shadow Pokemon. Last episode was like 48 minutes long. You can see right now how long this one is. I did have like 7 minutes of lead up to that one, so it was probably a little... It probably won't be that bad. And the legendary dogs, not exactly the best physical attackers. And we'll be taking advantage of better physical attackers for this one. This will almost certainly be for Brava's only appearance. I just wanted to get him purified or out of hyper mode and show him off a little bit. But that animation right there is why you won't be seeing more of them, because it takes forever, and I don't want it to. There's just certain Pokemon in this game who, like, the animations are just way longer because there's just a lot going on, and that whole sequence right there was exactly why Brava won't be in more. Because every Pokemon has animations, and a lot of them take a while, and there's no turning off battle animations in this game. It's just part of the game. But some of them go by quickly, and some of them take 7 years. The Brava is perhaps the longest of the 7-year variety. It's it's relative years. So, run them in against the electric types. Definitely on purpose. 100%. I knew what I was doing. And, yeah. That wasn't an accident at all. Because I looked at, before this recording, actually, I did look at the levels that we'd be encountering to see if, the Shadow Pokemon can actually handle it. I didn't look at, what Pokemon they have, really. I think I looked at the area leaders at a certain point, but it was actually a couple days before this recording, so I don't remember in full. I just know that I saw Area 5 doable, Area 6 doable, with just the shadows from the lab. And then I stopped looking. And... cool. Gramble, I'm going to actually hope that you're a non-hyper one, so you can just continue decimating everything in your path. Yeah, so Area 7, not so much. These guys can't handle it. They might be able to, but, it would take forever. Forever. So you'll see. If you watch tomorrow, I guess. But, Ariados getting almost a half with a single callback. Feels nice after Suicune and Raikou. I said to myself, I'm going to take a minute between recordings and think about something that I really want to just, that I can rant about for, a long time. And then I got between recordings and didn't do that. And so, I mean, not between recordings, between episodes, I was just drink water, done. That was the extent. Just keep going. And so, like, I don't have anything to rant about, and I intended to. I feel like I can find something, though. I can do this. I can come up with an interesting topic that I can talk about for a long time, while our shadow Pokemon valiantly try to get purified by beating up Mount Battle trainers in the background. Huh. Oh. Alright. So, while I am not a person who wants to criticize companies, because, you know, this is a YouTube channel, we want to eventually gain, like, sponsorships or you know, partnerships in some way. You know, we are big Nintendo fans. We only play Nintendo games on actual consoles. You know, original hardware. This is on original GameCube. And, however, while I do want to keep those doors open and don't want to badmouth these, you know, companies just in general, anybody who we might, you know, want to partner with in some way in the future. Not that we've done that yet, but, you know, leave the doors open. I do not have an issue with giving, not quite critiques, but more questions about certain things. There was a Pokemon Presents just this past week. As of this recording, it was in July of 2025. And... yeah, marker, why not? The Pokemon revealed Mega Dragonite, which was awesome. I love Dragonite and actually love the Mega Dragonite design. But the whole Presents had very little revealed in it. There were like a lot of things for the mobile games and TV shows and stuff that are not... they're not what the people watching a Pokemon Presents are interested in. And I think that is... there's a lot of, you know, discussion... I don't want to call it complaint, because some of it is complaining, but there's a lot of talk whenever like a Pokemon Presents comes out, or a Nintendo Direct or something. The Nintendo Directs tend to be there for everyone. They're showcasing all of the games coming up. They're trying not to miss anything, and that I appreciate that as like as a presentation. But with the Pokemon Presents, I think the Pokemon Company, they certainly know that their target base is kids. That has been, you know, Pokemon is a game primarily made for kids that also does things for the longtime fans, and you know, they've built an extraordinarily successful model off of it. However, I think that there is a bit of a gap between their expected audience, but between who they're making things like Pokemon Presents for and who actually attends them. You know, I think there's a disconnect there. I think they're thinking, wow, we made this, you know, we have all this cool information about, you know, upcoming changes to mobile games and upcoming TV shows and all this stuff. And it's like, wow, yeah, that is a lot of information. But it's a lot of information for more casual fans or people who want the more casual things. You know, updates to mobile apps and things, and you know, stuff coming up. But the people watching the Presents are not those fans. Like, it's not, you know, you might get 10% of that audience looking for, oh yeah, I really wanted to see that. But 90% of that audience is, all right, you guys scheduled, especially, you know, the yearly one, they want to celebrate Pokemon Day. There's going to be a Presents. There's going to be, you know, if they're not ready to reveal anything big, that's just how it is. You know, you can't be disappointed by content in there because they're gonna celebrate Pokemon. You know, they don't want to put things out before they're ready. And I think that's the right decision. But if you're putting out one in the middle of a time when it's not expected, which this one was not. It was a July Pokemon Presents that seemed weird, and they put out very little new information. Mega Dragonite was the big reveal, and that is a nice reveal, but it was the only big reveal for an upcoming main series game. And Legends EA got some attention. I'm sure it's out by the time this... maybe it is. I actually don't know if this will be out by then. Can't do the math in my head right now. It's just that was it. Like, as a huge Pokemon fan who watched the Presents, not live, it wasn't work, but still, I didn't expect anything, because I knew it was going to be not a whole lot, because they weren't going to... Next February, Pokemon Day of 2026, is the 30-year anniversary of Pokemon. They weren't going to reveal something big 7 months in advance of that. They just weren't. It would not make any sense for them to do so. All right, Os, you've been great. Mark Rowe, get in there. But it just wouldn't make any sense. So I expected there to be very little, but it just felt like, you know, like the saying, this meeting could have been an email. Like, that's what it felt like for the whole of it. And so it was this weird, like, I don't know why they did that. And I think that's the answer. I think what I said, it's that they have a disconnect, because for, you know, young fans who really like the mobile games or the you know, the TV shows and stuff, they announced a new TV show. I don't remember what it is. It's been less than a week. I don't remember. It's by the Wallace and Gromit guy, or team, I guess. I don't know what it is, because it was not interesting to me. I'm sure it'll be good. You know, well-renowned studio with Pokemon content, and tends to be. But wow, Marco did not do very well in this battle. Just bad matchups. But why can't I? But it's just, I feel like that was the case. I feel like it was... I sent a bug type in against 2 rock types. Good move, Mike. But I feel as though it was them saying, hey, we've got all this stuff. Oh, let's put out a Presents. All our you know, young fans and the casual fans who, you know, like the extra kind of stuff, they'll all love this. But they're not who showed up. Like, a lot of the comments and things were negative. They were, why did you do this? And I was one of those people. I was like, I just, you know, I skipped the parts that I wasn't very interested. I mean, I watched the whole thing, but like I wasn't full paying attention. I was in the moment like, well, at least they'll reveal a new set for Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. I've been enjoying that game. I don't pay for. I'm a free-to-play player, but we can't afford that. But like, I'm enjoying the game, and oh, hey, it's, you know, they've been putting out like a new set every month. It was about the time of the month to reveal one. Made sense. I'll watch it. I figured the reveal would come during the Presents, and they didn't do that. The reveal for it came like 2 days later or something. It was during the week. So I was just like, well, why? First of all, why not just put that in the Presents? It was clearly ready. I think it leaked like that day. Like they were ready for the release or for the announcement. Why not just put it in there? That would have at least been. I did not. How was that scary face? My left hand is not on the controller. I was literally just holding the controller with my right hand, spamming A, and Ariado still used scary face somehow. That was weird. Does it auto-select a new move somehow? I didn't learn that in testing. That or I'm like at an angle and the controller just moved. Yeah, after the first set, I don't record at the most comfortable angle because I have so much stuff around me. I've talked about that before, like the number of things that I have around. But like for this set of Mount Battle, I don't have notes. I have one note. It is about the area leader. I can pull it up when I get to the area leader. It's about what their specialty is. That's the whole of the notes for this area. I don't need to like mark times or anything like that. I'm just like, nah, just. So I'm like, I'm chilling out right now. I am relaxed. I am stretched out. I am no longer sweaty. I'm kidding. It's hot. It's July. It's hot outside. I don't know when this comes out. 7 weeks from like Thursday. So that's good boy. September, October, somewhere in there. That's when this comes out. I know that. But like, and so. See, I don't know if the controller did something weird or like what happened. It's fine either way. Oh right, Marco got paralyzed by a dragon. Oh well, at least Marco didn't get immediately KO'd this time, so that's something. Full paralysis is no fun. Come on. Ow, Gramble's gonna get KO'd. Maybe. Yup. Ouch. You know what? I said we wouldn't see Vibrava again, but there's a Vibrava on the field. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna send in Vibrava again. Why not? There's now 2 Vibravas on the field and they take forever. That's why not. Probably a bad move on my part. It'll be fine. Okay, perfect. Let's just yeah. Dodge the cute charms. Vibrava versus Vibrava. They're at the same level too. You know, except one's a shadow and one's not. And the one that's not has Dragon Breath, which is super effective, and Stab. Well, Vibrava's probably not gonna win this one, guys. But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of my rant. Is that I feel as though the Pokemon Company. I'm not one of those ones who, you know, thinks that they always do wrong. I think. You know, I love Pokemon. It's my favorite game series. It's a big part of my life. I love it. So does Tess. Lily already loves Pokemon, which I love. But you know, I'm not someone who wants to overly criticize the Pokemon Company. Nor do I always think that they do the right thing. You know, they make mistakes. But I just think that. Yeah, Bravo lost the Bravo match. I just think that there is certainly a disconnect between who they think is going to be the audience of live events like Pokemon Presents and who actually is. And I think that if they address that, if they actually say, okay, let's look at the comments, let's look at what the community says in response to these things. I think that it would be... Maybe my controller's just having an issue, or I'm just not used to playing at this angle. I'm not used to playing at an angle like this. I'm like leaned back, I'm just like relaxed. But I just think that would be a good decision for the Pokemon Company to just... It's not just a listen to your fans, although I always think that is a good idea. It's a look at who you're presenting to. That's really what it is. It's, if you're putting out something like it's basically a press release. It's just a really big one. If you're putting it out, look at who's watching that. And if you have a bunch of information that those people who are going to be watching it won't be interested in, maybe don't put a present. Maybe don't announce in advance. The press release that said that the presents was coming could have had 90% of the information that was in the presents. You could have done like a new release every week for much less cost, because they had to, send out we're doing this. For much less cost than actually putting the video and doing all of that and all the extra graphics and everything. They could have just put out that information. The fans who were able to watch the presents still would have gotten it. And then just done a brief trailer for like the Mega Dragonite reveal. If they had just done that, if instead of, hey, look, be excited, there's an unexpected Pokemon presents at a weird time with a new game coming out where, at a time when it's been 3 years since Gen 9 came out, people have been anticipating Gen 10 for a while now. I'm not, because I knew they were saving it for the 30 year. But, even though I wasn't expecting much, I still walked away from the presents going, why did you do that? And I think that's not great. That's not what they want. That's not what you want as a company. Now, do I think that anyone from the Pokemon Company will see this rant in episode, what are we in, 74 of a Colosseum full guide, when they haven't even put out information on Colosseum or XD coming to the Switch 2? That's only in the Nintendo Direct? No, probably not. But that's just, I think having that sort of attitude of, we know why they're doing it, I just don't think they know, not who their target audience is, I don't think they know who their actual audience is. I think their target audience, they certainly satisfy, but their actual audience is starting to dip, because, and I don't mean that in a slang terminology, I mean the numbers are going to drop, because there's too much fanfare over the things that the actual audience continuously says they are not interested in. And so if you keep doing that, it kind of turns into a boy who cried wolf situation, honestly. Because, if there keeps being more fanfare for things that the actual audience isn't actually all that invested in, they're going to stop showing up. And that would be bad for Pokemon as a whole. So, Pokemon Company, I hope that in some way, maybe, if you're watching this video, I'm speaking now to our community. Like, if you're watching this video, maybe just start spreading that message. Hey, and not just for Pokemon Company, I'm saying for a lot of things. Start looking at your actual audience. Listen. Listen to what your fans are saying. It doesn't mean you have to do it. A lot of ideas aren't great ones. But, I try to listen to our community as much as I can. And when I have, it's been good. You know, it's we try to give or do what people want. You know, sometimes things stop us. You know, I say as I'm in an episode of a Let's Play that, well, a full guide that was going to be a different game that was following our community, and you know that is now delayed by like a year and a half. Who knows? Not from, well, maybe from, I have no idea how long XD is going to be. But long. We're just getting some terrible luck in these battles, huh? Goodness, that Silverwind got a stat boost like last turn. But and this is only battle 6. 24 minutes in battle 6, and a morning sun. Woo, boy. Okay. It's fine. It's all fine. Yay. Oh, it's so bad. But yeah, so like, you know, I know that me saying this, hey, listen to your community more, as it's not that I'm ignoring the community, it's that what the game that we were going to do here was going to be Mega Man Battle Network 2, which has been frequently requested by members of our community in like comments and stuff, because Battle Network 1 was a very well-liked series. And I'm very glad about that. But, wow, seriously, we cannot catch a break in this battle. Done, like, no damage so far. And both team members are almost down. Great. So, you know, where was I? Yeah. So, you know, that got delayed because this game got pushed up. And that game, I want to give full attention to. The only game we're doing in between Colosseum and XD is going to be a shorter one. Very short one, actually. Because I want to, you know, get these games out as the games are coming out. And I don't know when that is. I just know that they're on the way. And so, like, I want to, you know, what was it? I wanted to listen to our community, and did. That's why it was the plan. But then the plan had to change, and I still feel a little weird about that in certain ways. I'm gonna do something weird here. I need to wrap up this battle because it is very much going poorly. That was bad. And alright. I'm gonna take advantage of hyper mode for a change. Because stat upped Beautifly with Morning Sun kind of posing a problem. But okay, double hyper mode, that's fine. Crit. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I'll just crit my way through this one. Looks like. Because yeah, we're approaching half an hour and 4 battles left after this. And so yeah, just, you know, this is just my plea to all who, you know, make things. Just listen to your fans. Listen to the people who are there and are interested. You know, maybe sometimes you'll get some bad ideas in there, sure. That's going to happen. But maybe you won't. You know, maybe it'll be good stuff. And you'll never know if you don't listen. You don't always have to do it, but try. Why not try? You know, that's just my take. So yeah, I thought that rant would last the whole episode. Nope. This is the last set of Mount Battle that is like this. You know, that it's just Shadow Pokemon trying to bust through. Fortunately. And yeah, we're gonna. I'm just gonna take advantage of hyper mode, and probably not call out of it again for the rest of this video, because all we're doing is Shadow Rush anyway. So might as well take advantage of the crits and see what happens. Of course, that didn't get the crit. It's got like a 90% crit rate. It's missed twice out of 4 so far. Just saying. Cool. Aridos goes down. Nice. Oh boy. Against the last 2 battles, just oof. Team's getting beat up here. Nobody has any other options. So it's tough. Yeah. See, I don't really have... Alright, so now I need something new to talk about. I don't know what, but something. This guy just... I love Pokemon. Me too, buddy. Me too. Fortress, you're coming up front. And, I feel like I had something else while I was talking that I was like, oh, I can do that for a while. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, I just don't remember what it was. So that's tricky. Alright, so more things. They don't have to be Pokemon related, but they should be video game related, because that's, you know, that's our whole thing. So people who watch are likely video game fans. Let's see. Fun fact, Waterfall can't flinch in Gen 3. A lot of people didn't know that. It didn't start flinching until Gen 4. Just nobody used it much in the first 3, because it's just weaker than Surf, and it was still special. So no one noticed. Alright, Ramble in hyper mode. That, if it crits, will knock out like most things. So we'll just take advantage of that. And oh, good, double rain dance. Good. Double crit. Get everything gone. Just crit through the battles. All of them. We're gonna be purifying this entire team. Like, not on screen. We've shown them all at this point. We don't need to do. Okay. Non-crit Shadow Rush counter in this episode up to 3. Hyper mode. Hyper mode edition. Sure. It looks cool. Just does. Okay. Cool. 4. It got the KO, but that was still not a crit. Like a 90% chance. Cool. Immobilized by love. Excellent. No longer even holding the controller. Just hitting A. Double attracted. Excellent. Let's see. Okay. Video game related, but interesting and fun to talk about. Let's see. Because like the Switch 2 is out. We don't have it yet, actually. Oh, alright, cool. A discussion of video game consoles in the life of Mike of Mike and Test Play. Because yeah, sure, I can do that for 10 minutes or so. Alright, so I was born in the 90s. Early 90s. I'm not going to say too much because I don't like to I don't want people to be able to find me. Like, you can because we use our actual faces, but you know, still I don't you know, I don't give out last name or anything like that. But so I was born in the 90s, and you know, real good time because Pokemon hit when I was like in elementary school, and you know, lifelong obsession. But the first video game thing I ever got was Pokemon. It was a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Blue version. And I, as a kid, having no idea what video games cost, and neither did anyone in my family, like I saw kids playing Pokemon on the schoolyard, literally like at recess, someone brought it. And I was just fascinated. I saw a Bulbasaur battle a Metapod in Viridian Forest. I still remember it to this day. And it took him forever. And I was just like, this is amazing. Like the most boring Pokemon battle you can realistically have. And I was just like, this is awesome. How do I do this all of the time? And I'm not even paying attention to the crits right now. Because now I got interested in the topic I'm talking about. I don't know if we missed one or not. But, so, you know, once I saw that, I was like, Mom, I need to buy this. And she was like, okay, it's another fad. You know, Crazy Bones had just happened. And I was just like, I don't think so, not this time. And I was right. You know, how often does the kid being like, no, I'm going to play it forever, actually turn out to be true? But anyway, so I looked at all of my savings and all of my money, and I was like, I have $15 whole. I was like, that makes perfect sense. The Game Boy can't be more than 10, and then the game has to be a lot less, so it'll be like 5. And this was the 90s. A lot of things were that cheap. You know, the prices weren't absurd yet. You know, so we went to a store. We went to a toy store, by the way, that did not sell video games, but we thought, oh, video games are toys. They'll sell them. And they were like, oh, no, we don't have that. And also, do you know how expensive they are? So we like found it in a magazine, because they advertised in magazines. And we're like, Game Boy Color, $80. Game Boy Games, $30. What? So I'm like counting pennies out of my saving, you know, coin jars. And Mom's like, you're never going to get it. But, so eventually, my grandpa, he got it for me. We went together. We went to Sears. Yes, I bought my first video game in Sears. Because found it on sale, I guess. I don't even know. But he got it for me. And so I started with the Game Boy Color. And that was my first video game system. It was Pokemon Blue version. You know, started with Squirtle. I'm sure I've said that before. But, like, that was my first. And then I was just like, no, I love video games. And so, you know, I would get more Game Boy Color games. I didn't get Red version for a long, long time. Pokemon Blue version was the only Game Boy Color game I had for a while. And, like, I still have all of my Game Boy games. Like, all of my Game Boy Color games. They're sitting in a drawer, like, right behind me right now. But, like, after that, I was like, okay, so now there's other things. And, you know, my friends had the Nintendo 64. And I was like, what is this? And Super Smash Brothers. And I played it, like, at my friends' houses, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. So I got that for Christmas. I don't know if it was the same year. It's been, you know, 25, 29, 28? I have no idea. It was in the late 90s. We're in 2025. A long time ago. But I got that for Christmas. And then got the Game Boy Advance also for Christmas. I got a special Golden Pokemon edition because my mom won it in a contest. So, you know, Pokemon fan, I still have that Game Boy Advance. I still have my Game Boy Color. You know, yeah, so then I got the, you know, I got the Game Boy Advance after the N64, and then the GameCube was coming out. And the GameCube, when it came out, my buddy, I grew up in a pretty wealthy town. I myself was never had money. But like, some of my friends had a lot of money. A lot of my friends didn't. They were like me. But some of my friends had a lot of money. And we're heading to the area leader. Awesome. This hyper mode strategy working out real well for going fast, I'll tell you what. Oh, the high energy trainer she's hearing about. So I guess we're making a name for ourselves. Theme of Area 6 leader Loco is not a type. This is actually interesting. The theme for Loco's team is having a high HP stat. HP is the highest stat of every single Pokemon on her team. So that's, interesting. Where was I? Right, yeah. So it's not stat. It's not type. It's stat and high HP. Gonna be frustrating. Hopefully we get a lot of crits. Actually, yeah, that Azumarill used Defense Curl, which crit doesn't matter. So cool. So my friend had a lot of. Grew up in a castle. Like, it wasn't a castle, but it looked like a castle, and it was on enough land that it could have been a castle. And so his parents, in order to teach he and his many siblings, I don't remember how many siblings he had. He had like 4 brothers or something, and a sister who was like in college, so she didn't exist because we were kids. And older enough just doesn't exist, apparently. But in order to teach their kids like the value of money and stuff, they rented them out a store on the main street of our town. Like, they just rented a storefront, like, for a couple of high schoolers, and we were like middle school, like not even middle school. We were like upper elementary level. Like, so they had this store, and they sold a bunch of like hobby things. It was a store that would have been a lot more successful 10 years later, I'll tell you that right now, because it had like games, and they would have like tournaments of like card games and stuff. It was really cool. As a kid, it was like, whoa! But it was stuff that wasn't exactly super popular at the time, and if they had waited 10 years, the store might have honestly been pretty successful. It's a good, and of course now it would be not, but still. And so he had, all of my friends then started shopping there because, he was our buddy. He would be working at the store. They would give us like very minor discounts. But it's still like, we'll go there. They'll set one aside for us or something. So my mom got me the GameCube for Christmas, and my buddy, being kind of a jerk, told me when she bought it. And it was a Christmas present. It was my big Christmas. We didn't have a lot of money, so like, yes, I would get the systems, but they were my big present, and I would get one game, and like that was that was wonderful for me. That was all I ever needed, and so just like spilled the beans, and my mom was so upset about that. And she had to go through all this stuff to still make it a surprise in some way. She was like, no, I didn't. He had sold it to her. Like, he was at the counter when she bought it, which seems like it was illegal, but they were rich, so I guess they got away with it. Anyway, we beat the area leader. The episode is over. I don't know. I have kind of run out of recording time. I don't know if I will be able to, still 800 Poke Coupons, by the way. I don't know if I will be able to record the next set. If I do, I will, right now, if I do, I will continue the story of Mike getting video game consoles throughout his life. If I don't, then I'll forget it by the time we record next. But that's going to do it for this part. Thank you so much for watching. And next time, we're going to do Area 7, but, Area 6 took a while. Way to abuse hyper mode. We're bringing in our team. So they're going to take care of it. They could use a little bit more experience anyway. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time for Area 7. See you then.